Hi, friends. I've been thinking about my mother. Both of my parents were narcissists and very controlling and did a lot of damage to me and my sister. My mother had a lot of strong ideas, and she used to say things to me that I thought were extremely weird. And I've been thinking about that recently. Like, I'm doing this thing on Blue Sky where I have been posting every day for 20 days the books that have influenced me throughout my life as I've read them. And I remember when I was young, I think I was a teenager, I got into this thing where I liked reading um, autobiographies and biographies. And my mother hated that. And I'm not sure why, but she used to yell at me about it, saying, people who read about other people's lives aren't living their own lives. And she would say that I needed to live my own life and stop reading about other people's lives. She would get very upset about that. And I thought that was very, 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 very strange. I liked when I was a kid, I was very much into musicals, the old Hollywood musicals, particularly Astaire and Rogers. But there was a lot of other uh, musicals I'd like, and I would save my allowance, and I would go and get um, records of soundtracks of different Broadway musicals. And she would flip out over that too. I don't know why you're listening to that stuff. Why don't you out living your own life? Well, I was living my life. But I was like 14. What the hell did she think I was supposed to do? And the thing that was weird is that my parents used to, back then, there were these big theaters in the town I grew up in, which is in the San Francisco Bay Area. And you would buy tickets to go see a movie, and you would have assigned seats. And there were ushers that would walk you down to it. And this is in the 60s, late 60s, early 70s, that would walk you to your seat. So you would pick where you would sit, like you would in a live theater. And we saw a lot of musicals back then, like Oliver, like The Sound of Music, these different kinds of musicals. And my parents would take us to see them, and we would have a really good time. And then they would wind up buying the soundtracks to those movies, and we would listen to them. I know one of them was My Fair Lady, and my dad loved that musical, and he would play the soundtrack to it. Now, that was perfectly okay. But me doing it with movies that I liked, I remember one that I liked a lot was called Man of La Mancha. And it made my mother nuts that I would listen to this. She wanted so much control, and I never understood the things that made her angry. One of her favorite threats to me was, if you don't stop this behavior, and whatever it was, reading biographies, reading autobiographies, listening to musicals, she just would say whatever it was that she was pissed off about. And mostly it was because I wasn't doing what she thought I should be doing, which was God knows what. But she would always tell me, if you don't do this, I'm going to take you to a psychiatrist. This was her ultimate threat. So for years, as I was growing up, the idea of going for therapy terrified me because that was such a bad thing, according to my mother. And I was in my 20s. I'd left school. I did not get a degree. I'd left school and I came home, I got a job, I got an apartment, and I started getting therapy. And lo and behold, the world didn't end. I wasn't a terrible person. And I've had a lot of therapy through the years with different therapists, different types of group therapy and stuff. It's been very helpful. So in turn, as a mother, when my children were struggling with things, and I would often tell them, if you need to talk to somebody, particularly if you need to talk to somebody about Daddy and me, go find somebody. Find yourself a therapist that you can talk to. And even if it's about us, go ahead and talk to them about us. Let them help you work through the things that are making you unhappy. Let them help you figure out the things that you need to do to make yourself happy and to move forward in your life. And they have done that. And I don't care that they talk about me in therapy. In fact, I hope that they do. I think I've made a lot of mistakes as a parent. I sure as hell know I've made a lot of mistakes as a person. And I carry with me a lot of that shit that my parents dumped onto me. And I'm sure they do too. So it's one of those things that I try to help myself remember that I want to be better. I want to move forward from the crap that my mother did to me. She did a lot. She did a lot. I sometimes think that one of the reasons I hate Trump so much is because he reminds me so much of my mother.